Okay, we're going to go through the settings for chart of accounts. So if I come in here to settings and accountant settings, down to advanced, then we have our chart of accounts section here. So the first thing that we have in this section is whether or not to enable account numbers. Account numbers make things a little bit easier when you are keying information in. However, right, when you think about it and we say, hey, rent is account 6,200. Okay, but then you have a new staff member and rent at their previous company was 6,500. So then they have to relearn a new account numbering scheme, and that can be quite difficult. So when you turn on account numbers, it doesn't force you to use the account numbers, but it gives you the option of using the account numbers or typing in something like rent. So let me show you what that means. And just real quick before I go into showing the account numbers, or showing you the chart of accounts with account numbers on, there's also this checkbox that says show account numbers. Now it's pretty confusing to me why you would enable them but then not show them. Perhaps you do something like that in the initial setup when we're importing, because it is easier to import to a chart of accounts number than it is like if you're importing a trial balance as an example, you can import to the number as opposed to importing to the chart of accounts name, right? Because sometimes the names can be confusing, especially if you have sub-accounts and all the things. So that might be a reason why you would enable account numbers but not show them. But the majority of the time, if people are using them, then you want to check this box that shows them, because then it shows them on the transactions and it shows them on reports as well. So have awareness of that. This one, only turning this on and not checking that off would only show them on the chart of accounts screen. So let me take a look. Oops, save, yes. So now when we come in here to our accounts on the chart of accounts, then I can edit an account as an example, and I will be able to, had to bounce back in there because I didn't hit save. I will be able to see the number now. So here I'm in the inventory section. Generally the inventory is in the 1000s. So let's just say 12 or 1400 for inventory, or 14,000 for inventory, and save and close. So now you can see that I have a number column and I have inventory asset, and it builds that number into the name. Now if I were to go, now, let me be very clear. Please do not ever enter something directly to inventory. Let me actually back up so we're not, not suggesting this. I'm going to put something into advertising and marketing real quick, edit this, put in a number, and this is going to be in the 6,200 range, save and close. And then when I come in to do, as an example, a new expense, and I say I'm going to do a new bill, then on the category here, I have the option, right? I can type in 6,200 and it'll take me to advertising, or I can just type in advertising. So you have the choice between using one or the other, okay? All right, going back into settings here, then we have the couple of things extra. So we have the shipping account. So on sales transactions, when we choose shipping, where is that going to go? Most people put it as income. Some people will put it as a wash and cost of goods sold, right, because they see the income coming out and then they should have the expense going out to pay for the actual shipping. So that's something that you just have to decide if it's material enough to have it as two accounts, one for income and one for expense. Discount account, so when we give a discount on a sales transaction, then it's going to go to this account. That should be an income account, and it's what's called a contra income account because it's going to run a negative balance, right? Because it's going to be money that we're giving back to the customer. So we sell it for $100, we give them a $20 discount. You're going to see $100 in sales positive, negative 20 in discounts given with a net of $80. Tips account, so tips income, it defaults down to other income account, and so that's something that is not part of a normal business, basically, is building in tips. So you have to decide where tips income should go. It could go onto a payables account if you have employees that are due tips. It can go in as income if people give tips to you, so maybe as a hairdresser or an independent contractor. So then also you have to decide if you intentionally lower your price because you expect higher tips or anything like that. Maybe it would go into general income, but most of the time it's other income. Markup income account. So what this is when we have a markup on billable expenses. Where do you want that to go? And I'll take a look at that here because the billable expenses income account also is going to be going and defaulting to billable expenses income. And so where you see this is on the expenses tab when we edit this and say we want to make expenses billable. The markup, so whatever is derived from here, would go into that markup income, and then billable expenses items as income. So let's say I pay $10 for something, and I'm going to charge my client $10 for that. It's going to go into billable expenses income account. All right, so those are the chart of accounts preferences and settings.